How to identify a chronically ill person when they personally know the difference between tiredness and fatigue. How to identify a chronically ill person. They get a day off from work, but they still go back to work tired, as if they never rested at all. How to identify a chronically ill person. They begin to get accustomed to being stuck over and over and over again. How to identify a chronically ill person. They become exceedingly familiar with all their diagnoses, and they can interpret every single complicated medical word. How to identify a chronically ill person. They could spend all year looking like this and not give a heck. How to identify a chronically ill person. Their knees are meteorologists without the degree. How to identify a chronically ill person. They get super excited to visit their superhero doctor. Whoop. How to identify a chronically ill person. They are tired and they're done, but they still press on. How to identify a chronically ill person. They may cancel your plans due to unforeseen circumstances. How to identify a chronically ill person. We're the ones who have extra heavy burdens, because as well as ours, we have everyone else's. How to identify a chronically ill person. It's the person that is by themselves trying to get through this life. How to identify a chronically ill person? Well, they tend to look like everyone else most of the time. How to identify a chronically ill person? Well, they may not have one chronic illness, but many. They may also have illnesses that you may not classify as chronic illnesses. So how can you actually identify a chronically ill person? They're the ones who look really annoyed when their issues switch upon them. How to identify a chronically ill person? Look for the person who had such wonderful plans and then on a day could not get up. That one. How to identify a chronically ill person? That is the person who, after 2 days of resting, still looks as if they've never rested at all. How to identify a chronically ill person? Well, they are constantly in pain and still they are expected to do all the things. They are in fact superheroes. You want to know why? Because we know for a fact that if anyone else had to deal with what we feel, it would be game over. How to identify a chronically ill person? They're the ones lying in bed in the dark, waiting for their body to come to a point where they can actually get up and go to work, knowing full well that that waiting is in vain. So they have to push through the aches and pains and the fatigue and the neuropathy and the everything else anyway. How to identify a chronically ill person? We're the ones that use spoons, but not as utensils, but as a currency for our energy. How to identify a chronically ill person? I don't know, mate. Probably up to you to figure out. How to identify a chronically ill person? That's really hard because we are really good at wearing masks and they look so much like everyone else. But in the coming year, it will be so cool to take off the suffocating mask and be ourselves in our wonderfulness, in our illness. But is the world really ready for that? How to identify a chronically ill person? We pull energy out of thin air and it disappears into thin air.